We are in the past. The Nintendo Entertainment System is released, changing the video game markets forever. He-Man and the Master of the Universe air on television, Warhammer 40k is in development and it will be released in its first incarnation called Rogue Trader, and Warhammer Fantasy Battle is currently in its second edition. We are in the early 80s.
And it is exactly from the 80s that this box came from. Heroic Fighters of the Known World from Citadel Miniatures. Hello dear friends and hobbyists, welcome to my channel. I am Corey and stay with me because we are going to take a trip down memory lane because I'm going to unbox this kit of miniatures from the 1986, designed by Jess Goodwin and painted by Colin Dixon. Well, before I'm going to unbox this, let's just talk about the history of this box, because this is not the only one. This is a box that is part from a series of 7. This one was the last that came out in 1986. Every single box had a theme, every single box had 8 miniatures, and these were not just random miniatures with just generic heroes. No. Every single miniature does have a name and does have a specific style that remind of a specific background. Now, as I said, all the boxes have different theme. Now, this one is of course centered around the theme of knight, and every knight have his own style. Every single one of them is different, and you can also guess that from their name. For example, you can see that there is a miniature called Gladius here, which is a Spartan if you look at him. This was the last one, and it was themed around knights and heroes. But all of the other boxes have different theme, concept, races. They were centered around even different games, not only Warhammer Fantasy. For example, the first box of the series was called Adventure Starter Set, which was created with the Dungeons and Dragons concept in mind, because inside that box there were a wizard, a fighter, a cleric, a dwarf thieves, for example. These were all heroes that were supposed to be used on Dungeons and Dragons or similar type of games. There are other boxes. For example, there is one centered around orcs, there is another one centered around elves, for example, another one for monsters with 2 goblins, a orc warlords inside, there is also a dark elf inside. They have clear concept in mind. Now, this is my absolute favorite box of the entire set. But there are 2 other boxes that I hope to find someday and buy because they are so amazing. Those 2 boxes are themed around dwarfs, both of them. One is called Dwarf Lords of Legends, and inside that box there are 8 different kind of dwarf. There is a more classic dwarf slayer with the orange mohawk on his head, but there is also a dwarf knight, a dwarf called Angus, which is Scottish with a kilt, and the other box is also themed around dwarf, but this time is called Chaos Dwarf Renegades, which are, as you guessed it, chaos dwarf with mutation. These are very bad and mean dwarves. I love that box, and I hope to find it someday so that I can pay. I don't even have a dwarf army, let alone a chaos dwarf army, but I don't care. Those miniatures are so beautiful to me that I need to find and paint them. Maybe one day I will have a dwarf army, who knows. But for the moment we will have to unbox this one here. So let's go to the hobby table and let's open the Heroic Fighters of the Known World from the old Citadel Miniatures from 1986. Okay, before I open this, can we just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful the box art is? I mean, look all the heroes that are represented here. Every single one of them, even the most hidden like Ulrich or Gladius, stand out. All of them have so much character, so much detail, so much love put into them. It's beautiful. Now, this is Heroic Fighter of the Known World, Citadel Miniature. The logo is still the same as we see around. And on the back, we can see all the miniatures completely painted by Colin Dixon. I will try my best to actually replicate all of this color here. Of course, I can do exactly 100% the same color scheme that you see here, for the simple fact that, well, because you can only see them from the front, and so I will have to guess. For example, Lord Aquila does have a cape on his back. I will have to guess how it is colored, but that's not an issue at all. Now, there is only a problem here. You can see there is this little dent, this little damage here on the back of the box, and well, it's not a major issue for me. I can totally see hardcore collectors actually having some problem with this little things here. To me, it's not a problem at all. I mean, this is a 34 years old box. It's almost a miracle that this is the only very damaged. I mean, yeah, there are some scratches around here on the box, but you can see that it is basically almost untouched. And that's okay by me, but I can see hardcore collectors getting a little bit bothered by this thing, but that's not a problem at all to me. To me, the important things are the miniatures inside and the front of the box, that you can see it's completely untouched, for even though there are some minor damage like here on the angles of the box, but that's not a problem at all. This is the box, these are the miniatures. Let's open it and see how beautiful these models are inside. And here we go. All right. Okay, so I see here another small problem, which are the shields. These are not the shield that came originally into this box. The original shields are actually rounded. As you can see from the back of the box, you see that Ulrich does have a rounded shield, Sir Brute does have a rounded shield, Gladius have a rounded shield. All the characters that have shields here are rounded. Again, I can see the hardcore collectors just being very bothered and frustrated about this thing. Me, I don't give almost a crap. The only thing that I care is that the shields actually have this hole, because the character here, they have these little pegs that are very, very prominent. That's where you have to put the shield. So if you do this, you see that the shield stick exactly through the peg. These shields, to me, give more styles to this miniatures, so it's not a problem at all to me. The important things are the miniatures. So let's take a look at them. First thing that we can see here is that these miniatures have already been painted, or at least they try to paint these miniatures. But that's not a problem. I can strip these miniatures away, and since they are made out of metal, I can use some very, very strong chemicals to actually do that. Maybe I'm not going to throw these miniatures into acid, because maybe that's going to actually damage them, but you know what I'm saying here. I can use very strong chemical and the paint will actually strip away. This is the only advantage of having metal miniatures. Above all, my very, very favorite miniatures, above all of these 8 that you can see here, are these two. Gladius on my right hand and the Moonduke here on my left hand. Why? Well, Gladius, because it is a Spartan. Just look at him, he is a Spartan. I love the pose, leaning forward with his sword on his back, ready to impale or slash the enemy in front of him. This is why I love him. And the Moonduke, it's actually my favorite above all of them, for a very simple and stupid reason, I guess. You see, he reminds me of the goblinoids enemies from The Legend of Zelda. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's the weapon, maybe it's the pose, maybe it's the moon that he have on top of his helmet. I don't know. Thing is that I am a huge fan of The Legend of Zelda, so this is going to be the first miniature that I ever going to paint in this entire set. He is absolutely my favorite. The cool thing about this set is that they can fit pretty much in every type of army. Now, since I have a Bretonnian army for my Age of Sigmar games, this Sir Brute, he is going to be perfect, because he is heavily inspired by Bretonnians. As you can see here, he is a Knight of the Realm on foot, or maybe even a Knight of the Grail, who knows. But anyway, he is going to fit perfectly into my Bretonnian Age of Sigmar army. Well, all of them are going to fit well. Also, Manfred, I like him maybe because of the huge sword. I don't know what is this on top of his head. Maybe are plumes? I don't know, this is a very strange shape. But he's cool, I love the helm. He is very, very cool. And the last one that I love is him. He is Lord Aquila. In the box art, he is completely painted in gold with this lens here, these halberds. The least favorite of mine are these three, which are Vlad, Ulrich, and him, which is Harald the Hammer. I don't know if this is true. I actually heard that Harald is actually the very first miniature that Citadel/Games Workshop have ever sculpted and created. I hardly believe that this is true, because at the time that this box came out, Warhammer Fantasy 2nd edition was out, so they made plenty of miniatures at the time, and so I don't know, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Let me know. I would be very curious to know if this is actually true. I don't think so. I heard this rumors somewhere around. Let me know if that is true. I also have put square bases, but I'm not going to use square bases because, again, I'm going to use them in my Age of Sigmar army. Now, even though these three aren't my actual favorite, they are still very, very nice miniatures, and all of them are very cool, and I can't wait to paint all of them. So this was the Heroic Fighter of the Known World from Citadel Miniatures from 1986. Well guys, I hope you had fun as much as I had unboxing this miniature set. Let me know down in the comment what you think about these miniatures. Let me know if maybe you are older than me, have you actually painted these miniatures back in the days. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know if you think that these miniatures are better than the newer one that we have right now, or the exact opposite. Maybe you think that the new miniature are vastly better than this one. Personally, I love old style miniatures. Now, don't get me wrong, new miniatures are amazing and I love them, but old style miniature will always has a special spot deep inside my heart. Also, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more video on my channel. I do basically every kind of stuff that center around our hobby. I paint miniatures, I do reviews, unboxing, whatever I want to do at the moment right now. Also, down in the description you will find the link to my Instagram account, so if you wanna follow me on Instagram, you will also see all the miniature that I paint every week. And again, thank you very much. This is the end of the video. I hope to see you again. I'm Corey. See you the next time.